right, I'm just going to get started. So my name is Katie Reese, Travel Trade Executive for Visit Britain US's team. I'm based in New York City. We also have our offices in Los Angeles, as well as our Canadian office in Toronto. And I'm very excited for this month's theme. This is every month we have a different theme. So this one is dedicated to history and historic travel experiences. So Britain's history, it's just one of its greatest tourist attractions. It's visible everywhere from prehistoric monuments dating back more than 4,000 years to royal palaces, modern cities built on medieval streets. You just hear mention and see evidence of the Romans, the medieval periods, Tudors, Vikings, legendary royals, and just way more than I could cover. Britain's castles, they reveal stories of defense, ambition, and regional identity, many of which are in gorgeous, gorgeous dramatic settings due to strategic positioning. And through its ruins, preserved languages and traditions, festivals, modern day venues, experiential activities that give you a taste of local culture, Britain is just living history and the ultimate learning experience. And there's only so much I could say because there's so much of it. So that's why I'm very excited to have speakers from such iconic organizations with us today to embellish a bit more on these historic travel experiences crossing England, Scotland, and Wales. So I am going to start with Scotland. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera and microphone on and taking control, I will hand it over to you.
Perfect. So I hope everyone can hear me well. It's funny, I'm so used to public speaking now at Dunollie, but I can't, not being able to see anybody or anything. It's very different. But yeah, my name is Jamie McGregor, and I'm here representing Dunollie Museum, Castle and Grounds. It's a wonderful place. We can see the castle in the image there, sitting on that rocky outcrop. It just commands this amazing spot overlooking Oban Bay, and I'm not just saying that because I've worked there for about 5 years now, but I'm a McGregor and they let me work there, even though it's a MacDougall stronghold. So that should say it all. But Dunollie, it's situated on the west coast of Scotland. So I'll just move to the next slide here. So it's in the west coast of Scotland. It's in the seaside town of Oban, which is about a 2.5 hour drive west of Glasgow and a 3 hour drive west of Edinburgh. And it's off the beaten track in a way. It's situated, as I say, in Oban, which has a population of just under 10,000, and we're just around the corner, and we've got this incredible view out onto the bay. I mean, the history here is incredible. Beneath the castle here that we see, there's two caves that are tucked in there, and there are skeletal remains found there that date back about 9,500 years. So that's where our story starts. And then we discover many years later, when Dunollie as a place name comes into written down text, it's about 1,500 years ago. So we've been calling that place Dunollie for centuries. And then the MacDougall clan, the incredibly powerful clan based here at Dunollie, but with many strongholds on the west coast of Scotland. They dominated large portions of this area about 900 years ago. So the history is immense, and the MacDougalls themselves have been embroiled in so much clan warfare, the Scottish Wars of Independence, Jacobitism, the Scottish Civil War. The list goes on and on. History's my thing, so I could talk for forever about it. But at Dunollie, we opened in 2012 because the clan chief, Morag MacDougall, was incredibly passionate about preserving the history of this place and gifted Dunollie over to the charity, the MacDougall of Dunollie Preservation Trust. And we're able to build on that from there. And now we have the castle, the museum buildings, and our gardens, and we're able to fit two 56-seater coaches in our car park. So we're able to fit the biggest of buses, but we also welcome independent travellers, small groups as well. Now, this is our museum building that we have in front of us here. The smaller buildings on the left-hand side have our film room, our little shop. The larger section of the building in front of us here is our museum. And to the right-hand side of this image, we have our gardens in here that go off to the right. Now, as I mentioned before, we have self-guided visits that you can come as a independent traveler, a couple, a group, but you can also come as part of a larger group. We welcome larger groups as well to Dunollie, and there's plenty of space to walk around. It's not too crowded, it's very spacious, and the site just has so much to offer. Now, the opening times at Dunollie, we're open from mid-March until the end of October, and generally from Sunday through to Friday, from 10 o'clock till 4, but we're able to open up under sort of exceptional circumstances. If we know in advance, we can open up earlier, later for groups as well, but I'll touch a bit more on that later on. We, of course, have a cafe on site that does it does lunches, it does afternoon tea. We can provide picnic lunches. These have been very popular recently. You can take your picnic lunch anywhere around the site, sit up with that view up at the castle. And we can also cater for large groups as well, again with advanced notice. And we try to use as much home baking, home produce where possible. The image on the right-hand side there, I know that I took that image and the lettuce in that sandwich was grown on site at Dunollie as well. So we tried to make as much in-house as well. And it's our volunteers that help tend our garden at Dunollie. Now, guided tours, we always encourage visitors, independent travellers who are there to attend one of the two guided tours that we have a day, 11:30 and 1:30. The tours cover a great range of history. As I say, there was going back to the Mesolithic cave dwellers right the way through the history up until almost the present day. So, and it ends in the second floor there of the castle that we can see. So there's such a rich history and so much to discover by taking on a tour. Now that's for I suppose, for the independent travelers, but we also have private tours for smaller groups, those sort of bespoke experiences that really they go and they focus on other unique aspects of the site. So as I say, it's that more bespoke experience, but we also cater for the larger groups as well. So those larger tour companies that might be coming, we bring in tour guides as well that help us command this site, that have a good knowledge, we've been working with for years to bring the place to life for all sizes. These are some images that I have of recent tours that we had, recent private tours that were going around the site and around the gardens. But we also have other private visits and bespoke experiences. I mean, the spot up at the castle, it's fantastic for yoga, as we can see there in the centre. We have private talks that we put on as well. We have whiskey and gin tastings. These take place outside the museum building, which is 300 years old. So it's a perfect place for some from whiskey or gin tastings. But we also have historic garden tours, historic archive visits. And I think in the next image here, I'll be able to show you some of the yoga, of course, at the castle. That was again very recently, a very dramatic scene up there, but we can put these unique experiences on. And in this image here, this is one of our behind the scenes archive access. Now, the document in the gentleman's hand there, that's a document from 1689 from King James the 7th of Scotland or 7th of England. He was the first Jacobite, I suppose. He was the exiled King James, and that's a letter from him asking the MacDougalls to come out in support of restoring the Stuart dynasty. So that's one of the letters that I brought out recently for this private group. But the earliest document at Dunollie's archive is 1450, right the way through until the late 19th century within our archive. So it's so unique, and there's so many experiences that we can put on. One of the really popular ones recently is we do interactive bagpiping recitals as well. We found that, of course, you can play the bagpipes to people for 40 minutes and just play your tunes at them. But we realized that people really want to better understand how they work. So we break them down, we hand out the reeds, we allow people to hold them, and then the piper will build them back up again and play for the audience. They have a much better connection with the instruments. This is one of the packages we've been developing recently, which, as I say, has been really popular. Now, of course, we have our little draper's shop on site. So much local produce in this shop. Most of the items in here are made by our volunteers. Those scrunchies on the left-hand side, the hand warmers and scarves in the middle. And we also try and use local artists where possible. Those gift cards that we see on the right-hand side have been produced by local artists. So we try to get the local community involved where possible. So it's a really unique visitor site. Now, out of season and out of hours visits, as I mentioned at the start, we're open from mid-March to the end of October, but we can open up in the winter. Things don't stop for us at Dunollie. We're just doing preparation work over the winter. So if we have enough advance notice, we can open up, put on a private tour. Any of the experiences I've outlined so far, we can put on as well. And we can go on into the evening. If somebody wants to come up and watch the sunset from the castle, if they want to have a whiskey tasting later on into the evening, that's all absolutely possible. It's just with that advanced notice, we can really put on any time of the day within reason. I mean, I gave a tour on Hogmanay on New Year's Eve this year to 40 people. So that was a really interesting one. The accessibility in the site, we have wheelchair-friendly paths all around the site. The only area which is slightly restricted is the path up to the castle, which we see in this image here. We have a handrail on the side, which gives people much confidence to go up the hill now because we didn't have one previously, but we listened to what people wanted. We've implemented this handrail, but it's still slightly steep. It takes a couple of minutes to walk up to the top. But in response to that, we've now got our film room. We've put on a 40-minute film that overviews the site for those that can't get up the hill to the castle, so they feel that they aren't missing out. So we're trying to listen to everything that visitors say to enhance their experience. And finally, yes, some more images, I suppose, of Dunollie and the contact details there from myself, Jamie McGregor, and my colleague Siobhan Griffin. So if you email us there at tourmanager@dunollie.org, I'll be delighted to answer any of your questions. So that brings an end, and I'm sorry for speaking so fast at you guys. I just had so much to say. So any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. I'd be delighted to speak to you.
Jamie, that was amazing. Your passion for this just makes me want to go immediately. But also, I want to special request you as a tour guide.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
thank you.
So thank you again. I know this is end of your day, and we'll make sure to address any questions at the end. So I'm going to hand it over now to Flo as we cross over to England. So, Jamie, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera on, Flo, you can turn yours on and your microphone, and you have control.
Excellent. Thanks, Katie. Hi, everybody. I'm Florence Wallace. I work for Visit Wiltshire, and I lead on the travel trade for England Originals. However, some of you may know me from England's Great West Way, but I'm here today to talk about England Originals, which is brought to you by England's Historic Cities, a consortium bringing together 10 historic destinations from Carlisle, Durham, Lancaster, York, Chester in the north, you'll see that on the map, coming down to Stratford-upon-Avon, Cambridge, Salisbury, Greenwich, and Canterbury in the south. These cities all offer rich heritage and cultural experiences for curious travellers, including the award-winning attractions, fantastic food and drink, exciting events, independent shops, and green spaces to explore. So why choose England's historic cities? Well, it offers centuries of history, vibrant culture, and warm local charm, from medieval castles to bustling markets and grand cathedrals to gourmet dining. They're easy to explore by rail using the Britrail Pass, allowing visitors to step straight into the heart of these captivating destinations and travel city to city with ease. These destinations are ideal for multi-city itineraries, giving visitors a deeper and more authentic experience of English life, rich with stories waiting to be discovered. Our England Originals Travel Trade Guide is a one-stop shop resource for the trade, making it easier for you to develop and sell authentic multi-city touring programs and experiences across England. It includes over 160 trade-ready businesses and includes key trade information like prices, contracts, group details, as well as ready-made multi-city suggested itineraries. There'll be a new 4th edition available in autumn 2026. We've developed a range of theme suggested itineraries, typically over 3 to 5 days, suitable for both groups and FIT. They can be done by car or rail and include between 3 and 5 cities. The themes include quintessential England, literary, film and TV, faith and religion, and I'll now give a brief overview of each. Our quintessential England itinerary covers Carlisle, Lancaster, Chester and Greenwich over 4 days. Carlisle lies to the far north corner of England near the Scottish border. It links 2 World Heritage Sites, Hadrian's Wall and the Lake District National Park. Visitors can explore Carlisle Castle and nearby Hadrian's Wall, bringing Roman and medieval history to life. The walking tour providers are recommended. You can overnight in the city or travel to Lancaster, which takes around 1 hour by train and 1 hour and 15 by car. Lancaster is a city waiting to be explored by both individuals and groups, as its rich history spans thousands of years and is best uncovered through guided tours of the city's historic streets. Highlights include Lancaster Castle, which overlooks the city, and the Lancaster Canal offers lunch and dinner cruises, plus discover captivating exhibitions and collections at local museums that bring Lancaster's past to life. You can overnight in the city or travel to Chester, which is around 1 hour 40 minutes by train or car. Chester is a classic contemporary city which boasts the largest Roman amphitheatre in Britain, the most complete city walls at almost 2 miles long. Chester offers Roman heritage and guided tours alongside sites like the 1,000-year-old Chester Cathedral and the Diva Roman experience, where live actors bring 2,000 years of history to life across 7 engaging shows. There are walking tour providers also recommended. You can overnight in Chester or travel to Greenwich, which takes just over 3 hours by train or 4.5 hours by car. In Greenwich, visitors can explore the UNESCO World Heritage Site, including the Royal Observatory, Greenwich, Cutty Sark, and the Old Royal Naval College. This itinerary combines history, culture, and varied regional experiences across England, but you do also have the option to extend it by including any of the 8 additional England's historic cities, as they all offer many more quintessential English places to visit and stay. So the literary, film and TV itinerary is a 3-day itinerary connecting York, Cambridge and Stratford-upon-Avon with the literary, film and TV theme. York is perfectly placed halfway between Edinburgh and London, and with the Yorkshire Dales, North York Moors, and the Wolds on the doorstep, York is unlike any other English city, again with over 2,000 years of history, known for its Roman roots, Viking history, and medieval architecture. It's a popular filming location with the historic street known as the Shambles, plus nearby highlights such as Castle Howard, who has featured in major film and TV productions, such as Brideshead Revisited, or you can step aboard a City Cruise York service, which has served as a filming location in Netflix's Bodies. You can overnight in York or travel to Cambridge, which takes just over 2 hours by train or 2 hours 50 minutes by car. Cambridge is packed full of stunning architecture and nature. It's a beautiful university town renowned for its impact on English history, education, and pioneering scientific research. Known for its university and literary connections, visitors can enjoy guided tours and experiences such as the Cambridge University Botanic Garden, which has inspired writers and filmmakers alike. You can take a walking tour of the historic city centre, including a literature tour and some of the most recognisable sites from film and TV, or you can take a punt along the River Cam. You can overnight in the city or travel to Stratford-upon-Avon, which takes around 3 hours, 30 minutes by train or 2 hours by car. Stratford-upon-Avon is nestled in the rural Warwickshire countryside. On the picturesque banks of the River Avon lies the charming medieval market town. As the birthplace of William Shakespeare and the world's greatest playwright, it is steeped in more than 800 years of ye-olde English culture and history. You can visit Shakespeare's birthplace, Shakespeare's schoolroom and Guildhall, and Anne Hathaway's cottage, as well as performances by the Royal Shakespeare Company. This itinerary brings together iconic storytelling, locations and cultural experiences across England. The Faith and Religion itinerary is a 4-day itinerary exploring the spiritual powerhouse of England's northern historic cities of faith. So it includes Durham, York, Canterbury and Salisbury, with an inspiring journey by car or train. Durham City sits at the heart of the amazing county, where the world-famous Durham Cathedral and Castle UNESCO World Heritage Site sits proudly above the characterful streets below. You can visit Durham Cathedral, which is the centrepiece of the Northern Saints Trail, a network of pilgrimage routes inspired by the region's early Christian heritage and ancient pilgrimage routes, plus a visit to Auckland Project, which is home to the UK's only faith museum. Both offer powerful faith-based heritage experiences. You can overnight in the city or travel to York, which takes about 45 minutes by train or an hour and a half by car. Day 2 is York. York is a historic centre of faith dominated by York Minster, one of the largest Gothic cathedrals in Northern Europe. Visit the Bar Convent Living Heritage Centre, which is the oldest convent in the UK, or take a walking tour of the York's medieval city's walls and monastic sites. Overnight in the city, or travel to Canterbury, which takes just over 3 hours by train, or around 4 hours 45 minutes by car. Canterbury, this medieval walled city, has been hosting pilgrims for over 1,000 years. This major pilgrimage destination centred around Canterbury Cathedral, which is England's oldest cathedral and part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can visit St Martin's Church, the oldest parish church in England, or take a walking tour to visit St Augustine's Abbey and other historic religious sites. Overnight in the city, or travel to Salisbury, which takes around 3 hours and 45 minutes by train, or 2 hours and 45 minutes by car. Salisbury is traditional and original. It's a cathedral city of ageless beauty and captivating history, and has been welcoming travellers since 1227. In 2027, next year, Salisbury will be celebrating its 800th anniversary since receiving its royal charter. You can visit Salisbury Cathedral with its medieval architecture. It's got Britain's tallest spire, the oldest working clock, and the best preserved original Magna Carta. Nearby stands the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Stonehenge, one of the world's most sacred monuments, which continues to be a place of wonder and contemplation for visitors from around the globe. For more faith and religious connections, you can extend this itinerary to visit Carlisle, Chester, or Lancaster. There are many more themed itineraries available online, allowing you to mix and match cities to create bespoke programmes. Examples include the North and South themed cultural routes by car and rail. So how can we help? Well, we've got an excellent one-stop shop resource for the trade, the England Originals Travel Trade Guide, with approximately 30 England Originals trade partners, many of which help join up the distribution chain. One of our latest editions, Tours International, are excited to be working with us, having just developed a new landing page. So if you require a DMC, they are well positioned to help you package and sell England Original programmes to the North American audience. There are also others too, and all can be seen online at englandoriginals.com. You too can become an England Originals trade partner, and as such, we can offer you one-to-one support for itinerary development and distribution, on-brand marketing content, access to images and video libraries, introductions to key contacts in tourism businesses and destinations, plus product sales training for staff and clients. We've given you lots of information, so don't forget to check out the englandoriginals.com website, where you'll find suggested itineraries, the England Originals Trade Guide and brand videos. Please do get in touch if you'd like any further information or would like to become an England Originals trade partner. Thank you very much for listening. I'll pass you back.
Thank you so much, Flo. I'm looking forward to seeing the new edition out in autumn. So I am now going to hand it over to Anne with Historic Royal Palaces. Anne, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera and microphone on and taking control. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Katie, and good afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Good morning to everybody, and I am here to tell you more about historic royal palaces. And I'm going to rattle through because we actually have 6 royal palaces in our collection. We are an independent charity that cares for the Tower of London, Hampton Court Palace, Kensington Palace, the Banqueting House at Whitehall, Kew Palace, and then Hillsborough Castle and Gardens in Northern Ireland. So just to put it in context where we're very London-centric, and the palaces stretch from the Tower of London in the original city of London, along the River Thames, right out as far west as Hampton Court Palace, which is these days conveniently close to Heathrow Airport. But as you can see, they're all very accessible by public transport, which is probably the best way to get around in central London. If we're going to start at the Tower of London, Britain's most visited heritage site, and indeed a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of 4 in London. Most famous, of course, for the priceless crown jewels. That's why most people head for the tower, and they are truly spectacular. But we also have the equally amazing collection of royal arms and armour located in the oldest part of the Tower of London, which is the White Tower pictured here. The armour dates back over 500 years, including Henry VIII's original field armour and horse armour, and can be seen every day. We also have much more. So the medieval palace, which stretches across the Traitors' Gate and dates back to the 1100s, as well as the battlements. You can walk around the edge of all the towers. There are 20 towers at the Tower of London, so there is plenty to explore. Opening new for next year is Prisoners and Punishment. It's what a lot of people expect to see at the Tower of London, but it's probably currently a little tame for their tastes. Although we are implementing a new project in the basement of the White Tower, as you might expect, in collaboration with the Royal Armouries. There will be an escape route in case you don't want to experience the stories and the experience of those who were tortured, executed, and of those people who actually carried out the sentences. So that's coming next year. Something we've recently launched, quite literally, is the Tower of London River Cruise. This is very exciting. This brand new boat, built in England, is the first all-electric sightseeing boat on the River Thames. And you can glide along from its own private pier at Tower Bridge Quay, a 40-minute circular tour. And this includes a live guide telling stories along the route to places that link back to the tower. It's a tour that has been written and curated by ourselves. It's a luxurious experience. The boat is very top quality, with leather seats, carpeted throughout with British Axminster carpet, and there is a bar for snacks, and you can have a lovely glass of English sparkling wine en route as well. We do combination packages with a visit to the Tower of London either before or after your cruise, putting it all into context. So definitely one to consider. Moving right out to the west side now and to Hampton Court Palace. I like to say you get two for the price of one here. So you have the wonderful Henry VIII's Tudor Palace at the front, very recognisable, but the back of the palace, which was rebuilt a couple of hundred years after Henry, is now probably equally as recognisable as the filming location for some of Bridgerton. Eagle eyes might spot that. But filming has been taking place at Hampton Court for 100 years now, and many different films and TV series in between. So what do you see at Hampton Court? Vast interiors, magnificent rooms, the Henry VIII's tapestries in his Great Hall that were commissioned for this very room 500 years ago and are still there, as well as the beautiful Baroque apartments and the fabulous Tudor kitchens, which would have served up to 2,000 people a day in Henry VIII's time. And then step outside into the glorious gardens and courtyards. As you can see, it's on the River Thames. There are short river journeys down to Kingston and Richmond. There is a river journey from London, but it does take you 4 hours. So do consider that if that's what you're planning. The beautiful Rose Garden, I was there yesterday. It is smelling divine. The Privy Garden, the historic maze as well. All great places to explore. We have a lot of seasonal festivals and reasons to visit. So we've just wound up our Tulip Festival, which is every spring. We have a lot of family festivals in the summertime, so those multi-generational parties coming over. We have our Big Bahui or our historic joust in the summer, and then autumn, winter, obviously Halloween and Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, we have something very exciting coming towards the end of this year, our Winter Palace. And this will be joining the annual ice rink at the palace and the festive fair in December. So Winter Palace, the Christmas Beast Ball, will be the ticket to Hampton Court from the 28th of November to the 2nd of January. And this is going to be an annual event. So you'll step inside and let the magic begin. The installations and experiences will be all inside the palace and the courtyards, Thus, we're hoping mitigating any bad weather at this time. So more to follow on that. It is on sale already as well. Something else coming new next year to Hampton Court in the Baroque William III State Apartments is Weaving Silk Stories. And we're collaborating with the artist Stephanie Smart, who makes these extraordinary garments from paper and thread based on historic dress and attire. So do look out for that. That will be included in your admission next year. Moving back into central London and to Kensington Palace. So Kensington Palace, still a royal residence on the private side, London home of the Prince and Princess of Wales, but we are responsible for the historic state apartments, which date back to the Georgian kings in the late 1700s. And these magnificent rooms, you can tour these rooms with a free audio guide, which is included, and really get the sense of the scale and drama that would have taken place in these rooms. However, it was also the birthplace of Queen Victoria. She was born here, grew up here, was educated here, and in the Red Saloon was announced Queen on the day that her uncle died and she became Queen. After which time she moved out to Buckingham Palace, but she was responsible for opening the palace to the public, so we her to thank. Each year we have changing exhibitions in our exhibition rooms, and currently on display is The Last Princesses of Punjab, fascinating history of one of Queen Victoria's godchildren, Princess Sophia Dulip Singh. I have no time to go into what this fascinating story is. Do look on our website or do come along and have a visit when you're here. It has remarkable jewellery, artworks, letters, and stories of very strong-willed women who have sort of changed the course of history. Our exhibition next year will be somewhat different. It's called And Mary. For those of you who are history buffs, you'll know that William and Mary ruled jointly at the end of the 1600s. And they were responsible for making Nottingham House into Kensington Palace. So come and explore And Mary's story next year. The Orangery is the perfect place for afternoon tea in central London. This historic orangery where Queen Anne's delicate citrus fruits were looked after is now a glorious restaurant. Contemporary style, but in a historic setting. We're open for brunch, lunch and afternoon tea. And if you want, you can have afternoon tea for brunch. We don't mind. Moving now to Kew Palace, which is located in Kew Gardens, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Kew Palace is a tiny, intimate home of George III. And you may have heard King Charles refer to his great, lots of greats, grandfather recently when he was visiting the United States. Here we can visit the palace. It's open from April to September. There's no additional fee for popping in once you have your Kew Gardens ticket. You can climb the stairs of the Great Pagoda, which is also in the gardens. There is a small fee for doing so, but be warned, it is 253 steps high. But we do have some little bookable events that people can gain more insights into the Georgian experience. So you can visit the Royal Kew experience itself, or the hidden spaces in the palace, or find out what it was like or how you kept cool in Georgian times, especially these days with global warming. Moving again into central London and the Banqueting House at Whitehall. This is the only surviving part of what was the sovereign's main residence in the 1600s, Whitehall Palace. So it's located right opposite the Mounted Guards Horse Guards Parade, just down the road from Downing Street. It is the best venue in town, so it is predominantly for incentive groups, corporate groups, gala dinners, conferences, wedding receptions even. As you can see, a total spectacular space for that. However, we do have some selected dates during the summer this year and proposing some for next summer where tourists can come and have a guided tour. So check out our website for those, and there'll be more to follow for next year. We'll discover the story behind the magnificent Rubens ceiling paintings. These were painted in Antwerp, and they're the only Rubens paintings still in the place where they were originally commissioned for anywhere in the world. And lastly, Hillsborough Castle and Gardens. So this is the official residence to this day of the royal family in Northern Ireland. So we're going to pop across the sea, maybe from Scotland or a short flight from London. And here you end up in Belfast, which is the capital of Northern Ireland. And Hillsborough is 20 minutes by road from Belfast in the southerly direction on the main road down to Dublin, which is just 90 minutes away. So visits are by castle tour and with our castle host. And you go through these magnificent staterooms, learn about the history. Our first international visitor was Benjamin Franklin in 1771 when he was negotiating independence. And indeed this year, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence, we have a copy of the Declaration and various other artifacts, a chess set that he and Wills Hill, the original owner of Hillsborough Castle, played on while they were here. It also has a lot of contemporary history. This was where the Good Friday Agreement was negotiated 27 years ago. But now you can visit and get a little bit of that history, as well as learning about how the royal family used the castle today.
And I'm going to jump in with just I'm going to give you a 2-minute warning.
Thank you. Thank you. Castle tour tickets holders have the Royal Style in the Making exhibition. There is a gardens only ticket, should you only have time for that, where again we grow all the produce for the cafe, much like in Scotland. And you can explore the wonderful gardens, the seasonal events, much the same as Hampton Court Palace. So we have private tours and event spaces. So if you have high-end clients that want a bespoke private tour, whether it be a rooftop tour, a private viewing of the crown jewels, or an early morning tour of Kensington Palace, we can arrange that too on request. And similarly for corporates, as you've already seen at the Banking House, but all the palaces have spaces for incentive dinners, corporate dinners. We partner with a lot of DMCs, so that's your best point of call. We do have booking directly online. We do have catering packages, and we also have free audio guides at Hampton Court Palace and Kensington Palace. And we do have one at the Tower, but there is a small charge for those. And of course, multiple shops and retail opportunities, as well as delivery and booking online for your souvenirs, so you don't have to carry them, of course. There you go. Hopefully I snuck in just in time.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about the Kensington launch of the Aunt Mary in 2027. I went to College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, so we have that connecting history there.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much. I am going to hand it over to Bernie with Royal Collection Trust, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera and microphone on and taking control.
Hello, everyone. More palaces and castles for you now. So yes, I'm Bernie, Business Development Manager here at Royal Collection Trust. And I also look after a few sites here, so I'll also try and speed through as quickly as possible. And if you need any more information afterwards, you'll have our contact details. So to begin with, I just thought I'd give a very quick overview of our organisation, just in case anyone's not familiar. So Royal Collection Trust is the charity that looks after the public opening of His Majesty the King's official residences, namely the magnificent Buckingham Palace right in the heart of London, the wonderful Windsor Castle just outside of the city, and the historic Palace of Holyrood House up in beautiful Edinburgh in Scotland. As our name suggests, we're also responsible for the care and display of the Royal Collection, one of the world's great art collections with over 1 million objects, from paintings, drawings, books and sculpture to furniture and jewellery. Any visit to one of the palaces will include the chance to admire some of the most incredible works of art collected by British monarchs over the past 500 years or so, and now held in trust by the King for the nation. What also makes our site unique is the fact that our visitors are stepping into a piece of real living history. Whilst some of our sites have seen nearly 1,000 years of royal history unfold, they all still remain in use to this day, both for residential purposes and in an official capacity as the site for grand state visits, investitures, and garden parties. So just to give you an idea of the full breadth of our sites and where they're located, you can see them here. As mentioned, today I'll be giving an overview of the 3 main residences, but I also wanted to point out that we have 3 smaller, separately ticketed sites located across London and Edinburgh, which make great additions to your itinerary if you're already visiting Buckingham Palace or the Palace of Holyrood House. Firstly, the Royal Mews, located at Buckingham Palace, is one of the finest working stables in existence and offers the chance to see some of the beautiful royal carriages that you may recognise from state occasions which have been broadcast on TV, such as the Gold State Coach. Whilst the King's Galleries in London and Edinburgh showcase rotating exhibitions of treasures from the royal collection. At the moment, the King's Gallery in London, for example, is currently hosting the sold-out exhibition Queen Elizabeth II, Her Life and Style, the largest exhibition of the late Queen's fashion ever mounted. The first site I would like to talk to you about today is Buckingham Palace. So its location in the centre of the City of London makes it an easy inclusion for any London-based itinerary, and it's easy to reach by public transport. Just to note, there's no coach parking, but pick-up and drop-off spots are located nearby. So Buckingham Palace started its life as the more modestly named Buckingham House, named after the Dukes of Buckingham, who used to reside there. It was then acquired by George III in 1762 for his wife, Queen Charlotte, and their children. The house was then remodelled and expanded in subsequent reigns to create the magnificent palace that you can visit today. Buckingham Palace is open every year in the summer, generally from mid-July to the end of September. During this period, visitors can explore the magnificent staterooms with their elaborate interiors and stunning works of art by the likes of Canaletto and Van Dyck. Visitors will also discover how the various rooms have been used by the royal family over the years to entertain their guests, state, ceremonial, and official occasions. To make the visit even more memorable, there's also the possibility to take in the sights and sounds of the famous Palace Garden on a group garden highlights tour. So now I'd like to move on to Windsor Castle, and just as a little interlude from me speaking, I thought we'd start with a quick video, which will hopefully work for us. So Windsor Castle is located within an hour of London and only 20 minutes from Heathrow Airport. This makes it a super convenient half-day visit on the day of a flight, but also works well as a quick trip out from the city centre. We're lucky to be not too far from the wonderful Hampton Court Palace that Anne mentioned earlier, so there's a good opportunity for some royal-themed itineraries in the area. And we're also a great jumping-off point to go and explore some of the many fabulous attractions along the Great West Way. We're easily accessible by train, and there's also a coach park in Windsor, approximately 10 minutes walk from the castle, so nice and easy. Windsor Castle was first founded by the Normans almost 1,000 years ago, giving it a long and storied past and making it the oldest and largest occupied castle in the world. Since the time of William the Conqueror, it's been the home of over 40 monarchs and is still lived in and regularly used for state occasions. Of course, the castle itself is impressive enough already, with its iconic round tower sitting atop the hill overlooking the picturesque town of Windsor and surrounding countryside. But that's just the beginning. You'll also discover beautiful art, including painted ceilings and paintings by Rubens and Holbein. You'll get to see Queen Mary's doll's house, the world's most famous doll's house, which, despite being 100 years old, includes electricity, running water, working lifts, and perhaps most importantly, a fully stocked wine cellar. The castle is also home to St George's Chapel, the final resting place of 11 monarchs, including the late Queen Elizabeth II. We also offer private guided evening tours for groups at Windsor Castle, for those looking for a more intimate out-of-hours experience. And it's worth noting for any winter itineraries that the castle is always beautifully decorated for the holiday season from about mid-November onwards. Finally, we come to the Palace of Holyrood House, located in beautiful Edinburgh, Scotland. We're located at the opposite end of the Royal Mile from Edinburgh Castle, about 15 to 20-minute walk from the old town and the main train station. The palace also benefits from having coach parking space for any groups arriving by coach. The palace is the King's official residence in Scotland, with over 900 years of royal history waiting to be discovered. From the beautiful ruins of Holyrood Abbey, once one of the grandest medieval abbeys in Scotland, to the historic apartments which tell the tragic tale of Mary, Queen of Scots, there's so much to be discovered on a visit. On a hopefully beautifully sunny day, visitors will also have the opportunity to wander through the grounds, appreciating the architecture of the palace against the stunning backdrop of the dramatic Salisbury Crags. We also offer private out-of-hours group tours for guests who would like to delve more in depth into the history of Holyrood with the help of an expert guide, and these are available in both the morning and the evening to offer flexibility. So in terms of working with us, we work with both group and FIT visits, and obviously the private tours that were previously mentioned. For us, the group is 15 people or more, and you can either book direct or through your chosen DMC. FIT, it's usually better to go through your chosen wholesaler or DMC as well. And we also have a trade partner voucher scheme, which is open to anyone who's operating in volume. We offer various materials and support. So on site, all of our visits are self-guided with a multimedia guide available in multiple languages. Guidebooks also available to purchase from the shops on site. And we also have a dedicated travel trade web page with all of the resources you might need, how to contact us, how to book in familiarization trips, and images and an asset library and all of those kind of things as well. A little quick mention for our shops as well, where you can buy some beautiful royal souvenirs to commemorate your visit. And that brings us to the end of my presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bernie. I'll actually be in Edinburgh in a couple months for a wedding, so I'll make sure I stop by Holyrood while I'm there. So lastly, we are touching on Wales. So Wales is frequently called the land of castles, with more castles per square mile than any other country in the world. Cadw is the Welsh Government's Historic Environment Service conserving and preserving the built heritage of Wales. So I'm going to show you a 2-minute snapshot of the incredible work they do, but just a little bit more background. So Cadw, which is Cadw, so cadw.gov.wales, has a ton of resources that you can reference, including ideal castles for kids, what to do on rainy days, and just a wide array of things that you can further explore when you have the time. But for now, I'll give you just this 2-minute snapshot from a former custodian.
Cadw are part of the Welsh Government. So we look after the built and heritage as well as the landscape as well, some of the historical landscape. Cadw has about 130 properties in its care throughout Wales, of which about 26, I believe, are fee paying, and so there's a mission charge on it. So my role here as head custodian is that I welcome visitors to Harlech, so they have a really good, enjoyable and informative visit, and also a safe one as well. Harlech sits on the northwest coast of Wales, and we're actually in the Snowdonia National Park. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful part of Wales. I mean, I actually only come here for 3 months, and 6 years later I'm still here. It's got everything on its doorstep. It's got the sea, it's got the most beautiful ancient woodlands, and obviously this amazing castle, which is a World Heritage Site. We've got prehistoric monuments up to modern day. So, visiting our sites also tells you a lot about the story of how Wales has evolved. In terms of assisting international domestic visitors and group bookings or FITs, we run Cadw tour operator system, so you can register for that. It's free to join. And what we can do then is we can offer the client a 10% discount on their group booking. If somebody wanted to come, for example, and do a familiarisation visit, then we can arrange that free visit. We can have a sort of a pre-recce ready for their clients to come here, or we can give the tour guide and the coach driver free admission as well. The Cadw have made the sites accessible and suitable for international travel by introducing foreign language guides. So they can buy a guide, take it around as well. We've got amazing interpretation as well on the site. We can offer advice on maybe some tour guides, Waka guides that are able to speak perhaps other languages. Cadw sites appeal to international trade, travel businesses because we've got some world-class monuments. We've got a World Heritage Site, which is you're standing in a Harlech, you've got Conwy, Carnarvon and Beaumaris, so that's one World Heritage Site. But we have such a diverse range of buildings in our care, and it all forms part of the story that makes Wales what it is.
So like I said, a little snapshot, but Wales definitely does deserve a whole deep dive for its castles and everything surrounding it. This is our usual key trade resources with websites to help for travel trade, our newsletters. We always have what's coming out, new product, relevant events. And I just, again, really want to thank all of our speakers who were able to participate. It is now almost 7 p.m. their time. You'll see all of their contact information on the screen. And this is also a chance to add any other questions that might have come up in the Q&A feature of Teams. Otherwise, I will again be uploading this to Visit Britain's YouTube page, and I'll send the deck as well in a follow-up email along with our speakers' contact information. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned quite a bit, especially about what's coming up, and I hope to see you at our June webinar, which will be culinary focused. So have a great day.